At Sierra, discover joyous deals on great gifts for everyone on your list. Like cozy slippers, ski gear, fishing poles, bikes, large kayaks, even larger canoes. Whew, which might lead to another discovery. Wrapping gifts is the only sport you need to stay fit this season. 'Tis the season to discover great gifts at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Behind those cozy nights at home, thousands of employees at BP go to work every day. People producing more U.S. natural gas. People building grid-scale solar capacity. People turning landfill waste gas into pipeline-quality renewable natural gas. And people delivering all of that power where it's needed. They're part of the more than 300,000 jobs BP supports across the country. Learn more at bp.com/investing in America.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Fergal.
And we're from Movie Smash.
Comic book movies are having a golden age right now with the MCU.
Movies based on comics aren't necessarily a new thing, but they're a big thing.
Join us every other Tuesday on Movie Smash.
We explore these movies and find some hidden gems.
Every other week, we revisit some of the best.
And some of the worst movies based on comics or graphic novels.
Was Green Lantern as bad as you remember?
Heck no!
Is Time Cop the most accurate time travel movie ever created?
Absolutely.
Was Mystery Men way ahead of its time?
Should they be revisited? Should they be forgotten?
Join us on Movie Smash and find out. Listen wherever you find your fine podcasts.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All2ReelToo. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Sesame, the world is on fire, Encarta.
I thought the world was a vampire.
It's that too.
Okay, just checking.
Vampire on fire.
Yes, thought it was a vampire sent to drain. No, so yes, the world is on fire. My world's on fire, how about yours? And that's the way I like it, or whatever that song goes. Anyway, so... yes. So, folks, 'tis the season to be jolly.
Yeah, okay.
Fa la 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 la.
Yep.
Anyways, for the month of December here, we are covering some Christmas-themed stuff. And today, we're looking at a very special Christmas episode of my favorite sitcom of all time, NEWSRADIO.
Yep.
This is the second season, episode 10, entitled Xmas Story. This was directed by Leonard R. Garner Jr., written by Paul Sims, Lou Morton, and Dawn DeKaiser. The show stars Dave Foley as Dave Nelson, Stephen Root as Jimmy James, repeated criminal Andy Dick as Matthew Brock, Moira Turney as Lisa Miller, Vicki Lewis as Beth, fascist podcaster Joe Rogan as Joe Gorelli, Candy Alexander as Catherine Duke, the late Phil Hartman as Bill McNeil, David Anthony Higgins of the Higgins Boys and Gruber, also the uncle of one of the guys in Please Don't Destroy, as Santa, rapper Tone Loc as Lorenzo, and Toby Huss as Junior. So that is the episode cast. So the Internet Movie Database short synopsis here for this episode is: no one believes Bill when he tells them that a bell-ringing Santa is threatening to kill him. The staff is disappointed by Mr. James' cheap Christmas present, so he gives new cars to everyone except Matthew. So, initial thoughts here on this episode, Sesame.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yes, it's one of my favorite episodes of the series, period. The cast is great all around, even the ones that I don't like anymore. And this is the before times, before things went bad for Joe and Andy. So
right. It's like the whole thing with like Obi-Wan Kenobi talking to Luke. It was before the dark times, before the Empire.
Yes, exactly. It's before Andy Dick allegedly had a hand in killing Bill and killing Phil Hartman and a couple other people with supplying them with drugs and stuff, supplying their families with drugs, because he supplied drugs, cocaine to Phil Hartman's wife, and that supposedly set her off the edge that she ended up killing him and then shooting herself. One of the saddest days of my life. Yeah. So happy times here, Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that the thing about News Radio is it did have the best ensemble of a sitcom, I think, up until maybe The Office or Community, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just the way they work so well together, the different types of humor that each of them have kind of just blend really well together. I mean, overall, I love the show. They underutilized Candy Alexandra, though. That was my problem with it. But other than that, and then she left early too. So because basically she wanted to go on to other things, and I don't blame her. But yeah, this episode is, like I said, one of my favorites. So what happens here in this episode, Sesame?
It's almost immediately the Santa Claus is threatening to kill Bill. Well, that's alright, it rhymed. But
yeah, Kill Bill. It was the prequel to the Tarantino films.
Exactly. And we have no idea why he's got this huge problem with him. He keeps whispering to him he's going to kill him in his sleep and all this kind of stuff. And so nobody believes Bill. They end up splurging to get Jimmy James this like old jersey from like the Yankees of like some player that he really liked, I guess. But he gave them like
Jumpin' Joe Dugan, I believe his name. Yeah,
is that even a real player?
It was a real player. Yeah, he was like considered one of the best players in early Major League Baseball. So
they got him mad, and he ended up like breaking the glass and like putting it on. It was like the whole point was it for you to wear the shirt, dumbass. It was like it was like, you know, a commemorable. Anyway, whatever. I mean, he's rich. I guess he can do whatever he wants, you know. So he ends up getting them like stupid baseball caps with their names on it, and then it turns out they weren't even like new hats. They had like other like companies' names on it, and then he just put like their names like as like a sticker or something like that over
the patches or something on top of them.
Yeah, and so they're like really pissed off about that. So Dave had to kind of tell them like, hey, you know, like they're kind of pissed about these gifts. Like if we like put a lot of effort into your gift, and like it seems like you just thought of something like right away. And he's like, oh no, I got one too. And then he's got a thing with a hat with his name on it. He's like, yeah, what does it say underneath it? It's like some companies like, well, I own the companies.
It was like Jimmy James Incorporated, so it had his name in it anyways.
Exactly. He's like, this is it's so, you know, he's like, okay, like I'll fix this, you know, I'll do. What's that?
He's like, how would you feel about the hat if you didn't own the company? You know, so it's like, yeah.
He's like, so can you imagine that though? Of like, if you like got something really, really, really cool, and then like they gave you something like not even like, not like it has to be like an equal thing, but like you just put in no effort whatsoever into it. It's like, you know what I mean? Like you might as well just like not give anything at all to someone instead of being like insulting about it.
It's the equivalent of like when I worked at Walmart and the company would be like rising in stock, and they'd be like, to celebrate how good the store's doing or the company's doing, we're going to give you some pizza.
Exactly, a pizza party. Yeah.
It's like, or the day that my one new store manager came in and says, because you guys are doing such a great job, I bought you Tim Hortons.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
And I literally said to him, I said, how is a Timbit going to pay my rent?
Probably just like fires you right in the spot.
I said it to him. He got pissed, but whatever. I was just like, I didn't care. I wasn't afraid to say it. So
it's just so dumb. Like, it's so Jimmy, he's like, I'm going to fix this right away. Don't you worry. And so he ends up buying cars for everyone except for Andy. And Andy at first doesn't seem like
Matthew, the character.
I don't know why I thought, And but Matthew at first doesn't really seem like he's bothered by it at all. Like he really likes tapes that Jimmy gave him of like these old like radio comedy shows or whatever.
Fibber, McGee and Molly, which was a real show that was like really, really popular. So.
And so he's like, you know, he likes to, you know, he likes to give. He's, you know, he's enjoying it and stuff. And they all feel kind of sorry for him because Jimmy didn't buy him a car. And the reason why he's not bothered is because I was sitting there thinking, maybe this is just like his personality. Maybe he just doesn't really care about cars or whatever. He just likes this kind of, but it turned out he thought that Jimmy had just rented the cars for them, which I don't know why you would even think that, but whatever. And then they're like, no, Matthew, he bought these cars. Like they're ours, like they belong to us now. And so he was getting really like pissed off about it.
They were Miatas too, like just like the kid in Shattered Glass supposedly wanted, the fictional kid. Yeah, Miata.
Exactly. Thinking of too when they mentioned Miatas, I was like, oh, that's what Miata is. Okay. I'm not really a car guy, so I don't really know much about like.
I knew they were cars, but beyond that, I didn't know anything. I don't know what they look like. So
he literally bought 6 Miatas, and they're all like revved up, no pun intended, about that, and Matthew's like slowly kind of spiraling a little bit because he's like, well, why did James just give me this stupid thing? And then Jimmy was like, no, you don't understand. Like I gave you Fibber McGee. He's like, yeah, I know. I can listen to it right now. He's like, no, I gave the rights to Fibber McGee. Like I bought them for you. He's like, wait, what? He's like, yeah. Anytime like they do anything with them, they have to go through you. And so then like everyone else is kind of jealous of him now because like he's got the better gift.
The thing is like I was looking into it and I was just like curious about the history of Fibber McGee and Molly. There was a short-lived TV series in the 50s where they recast the characters from the there was a husband and wife that did the one of them was named Jim Jordan, not the Republican congressperson.
That guy.
Yeah, but him and his wife, I think Maria or something. I'm just remembering this off the top of my head. They are Marion. I think it was Marion. Yeah, they played Fibber McGee and Molly, this married couple, and it was a funny. It was like a sitcom on the radio. This is before TV, and because a lot of sitcoms started on TV and then on radio and then moved to TV. Like even I Love Lucy was based on My Favorite Husband or something like that. I think it was called. And but the show was really well known for their closet gags, which I guess Molly would clean the house and just shove everything in the closet, and then Fibber would open it up and everything would fall on him. And this was a running gag show.
Yeah, comedy has progressed a lot more since that time. We're just like, well, have you ever like done this deep dive where you started like looking into like entertainment like throughout the ages and like how humans have like progressively gotten better at it? Like, you ever read some of these old stories where it's like, this was comedy to them? Like, this is the dumbest shit possible, but like, it's because like humans have progressively gotten smarter. I mean, like, what was the first recorded joke of all time? Nobody knows what the joke even means, but basically it was like a dog walked into a tavern and then he said something like, yes, this is a tavern or something like that. And then he walks away. And we're like, what does this joke even mean? Like,
well, it's like the oldest one that everybody goes to too is like, why did the chicken cross the road?
Right.
To get to the other side. Like, how is that funny?
Well, that's the thing. Back then, that was like, people have progressed a lot since the early days. They were nowhere near. I mean, I guess we can't.
Yeah.
Really
I mean, but there are some things too that do hold up though. Like, I mean, like Matthew in this thing mentions that Jack Benny was his favorite, and literally a lot of the stuff that Jack Benny did still holds up. So comedy wise, it's just because it's really well done. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe Fibber McGee and Molly is actually pretty brilliant, but all I know is the history of it talking about closet gags and stuff. So it's like, because like in the thing when Matthew gets kind of mad, he's like you just gave me a bunch of tapes of junk falling out of a closet.
Right, exactly. I know, totally changes perspective of what he was listening to. He's like laughing at it before saying how great it was. And like,
I will tell you, I mean, I think Andy Dick was brilliant in this episode. He was just so like he goes from being like mellow to like psycho and like this like slow pace, which was pretty funny. So yeah,
he was one of my favorite characters on the show. I mean, it's too bad that he's like a crazy weird person, but like I mean, I don't know, maybe he's better now, but still I don't know. So Well, that's the thing. He gets better for a while, and then something happens. Then he starts up all.
I mean, he's been
that's
arrested for armed robbery and other things. So it's like hard to
like
say. Yeah.
sexual misconduct or exposure.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at Woodstock '99, whipped out his own dick, no pun intended. Well, yes, actually, and and like, dude, like you can't. Do that.
What's really ironic? He calls his dick his Andy. It's this weird thing that Oh, I'm joking.
Oh, I thought you were serious. I'm like, does he serious? I was like, wow, I couldn't. But yeah, the character of Matthew, though, it's so cool because there's another episode where Andy is like, Matthew is like finally going through like a punk phase, like in his life.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and Dave is like he's like, hey, here's a bunch of like my old like tapes and like records. Like this band here is called the Buzzcocks. Like you really like them and stuff. And then like he ends up finding out that like Matthew's like listening to like Celine Dion or some shit. He's like, I thought you were going through punk. He's like, it's not about the music. It's about the way of life or whatever. It's like this whole time he's like dressed up like a punk and he's like listening to Celine Dion or something.
That's how I plan to go to a Celine Dion concert someday. No, I'm joking.
Dress up like you're like a punk, like mohawk and like 80s style punk.
That'd be great. So as far as this is the second time that Toby Huss was in an episode. He played one of the security guards, and he later plays a different character. I think he has like 2 or 3 characters that he plays. He plays this security guard twice, but he also plays like a trainer for somebody that ends up like pretending to be several different people throughout the episode. It's one of the like later season episodes that I haven't watched as much, so I don't remember off the top of my head. Yeah. But Toby Huss is a great actor. He's known for like doing a lot of like character work and deep dramas and comedies and everything, and he did 164 episodes of King of the Hill. Yeah, not to mention he's been in like Star Trek Lower Decks. He was in Maxine recently, the movie The White House Plumbers, the Fatal Attraction TV series, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. I think he was in like a Low TV series. So yeah, he's done a lot over the years. He was in 2018's Halloween. He was he's been in everything. He's got 100 and let me see how many. He's got how many? 166 or 169, I guess, credits of acting in his career. So yeah, I like him as an actor. There's a movie you should check him out in that I really like called Sword of Trust. That was, I believe, the last movie that Lynn Shelton made before she passed away. And it stars Mark Maron. Yeah, he's in that, and it's really good. He plays like a white supremacist in that. So, yeah. Yeah, so anyways, any other thoughts here about this episode?
Yeah, a few. So it turns out that the Santa Claus guy, he said that he just like, he wanted to give Bill like a tape of his work, I guess.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So he was like doing that as like, I guess, like a performance art type of thing or whatever. And so, Bill was, he threw the tape in the trash, but then the guy came back and said Merry Christmas. So then he felt guilty about it. So then he took it from the trash and he was going to listen to it on his way home. But then the guy turned out that he actually wasn't going to kill him, I guess. Cause he's like, check your brakes or whatever,
It's like he cut the brakes on Bill's car, which is creepy as fuck.
We don't know what the motive is. If there was a motive, he's just crazy. Like,
I kind of like that we don't know. And the thing is, like, by the next episode, Bill's fine, so he obviously didn't die. So it's like, what the?
That's the thing. That was like the era of TV where the continuity wasn't like a huge issue. Like, it was okay to have like a gag at the end of an episode and like not have it even be addressed in like the next one. Like, it didn't matter.
Yeah,
like, it wasn't like, oh well, technically in minute 17 and 45 seconds, there's a hand that comes out through the window, and that was supposed to reference a character from another TV show from 15 years prior. Like, but only the Australian version of that show, because they had an American and Australian, so there was a crossover, like the multiverse. It was like the Australia verse. So then you didn't address that next episode. So like now I can't watch the whole experience is ruined for me. Like, no one gave a shit back then. But we have an episode where like Doug from like King of Queens like ends up like getting decapitated decapitated, and like the next episode, everything's fine.
Yeah. And like in this world too, you have actors playing multiple roles, like as guest appearances too. Like Toby Huss played several roles, and then like Brian Posehn played a couple different characters. Bob Odenkirk played a couple different characters. So did David Cross. So it's like, because all three of those guys are in separate episodes from each other, and then they're in one episode together where they're Dave's old singing group that he belonged to called Chock Full of Notes. And
It's a terrible name.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
That's another good episode too. But the best part of that episode, if we ever cover it, we'll go into it more. But it's like Bob Odenkirk's character keeps using the word sagacious in sentences, and then at the end of the episode, when he's not around, and Brian Posehn's character turns to Dave, and he's like, "Dave, what does sagacious mean?"
Yeah. He's like, I don't even know. Like,
so yeah. But but this one here, Xmas Story, is one of my favorite episodes. I highly recommend people check it out. I recommend checking out the whole series. It's good, even the John Lovitz season. Not as good as the first. I think the first 3.5 seasons, or three, or maybe the 4 seasons are good, but towards the end, I mean, towards the middle of because Phil Hartman died in between seasons 4 and 5, and but even season 4 is kind of off in my opinion, but it's still good. It's not like, it's not like Gas Leak era Community or anything, but it's still so. Yeah,
I mean, like, John Lovitz is good actor stuff, but I can't really see him as being that kind of character. You know what I mean? Like, it just
he's a completely different character, so it's like he's a completely different type of character too.
Yeah, type of character, right?
Yeah, and
I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, behind the scenes, I guess he and Andy Dick hated each other too. So I was like, yeah.
Well, I mean, I would hate John Lovitz myself because he's like a terrible person. But like, anyway, so
John Lovitz actually was right here, in my opinion, because he hated Andy Dick for basically killing his best friend.
So I get that part, but it's like the enemy of my enemy type thing. Yeah, no, I'm not saying John Lovitz is my enemy. Like, but
I don't know. I don't think John Lovitz is that bad of a guy. I don't know. So yeah,
I think he's one of these, like, like the woke left is ruining everything, whatever type people.
I don't think he has too much.
Maybe.
He's one of the few like Saturday Night Live people from that era to not do that. So
okay, maybe I might be thinking. I thought there was a whole thing where he was like anti-vax and was saying like it's so terrible or whatever.
Maybe, and I might have missed it. So I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I don't want to, say for sure that he is. But yeah. Well, yeah,
but
it's okay.
I did love him in Benchwarmers too, though. I thought he was great in that. So
yeah, check out our review of that episode in our list of episodes here. Yes,
like 5 years ago or 4 years ago or something like
that. Yeah. Benchwarmers 2 with Chris Klein. Yeah. So,
yep.
Yeah. I liked him in what's that movie? Rat Race. That was a good movie. But yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he's great in that movie. That's such a good movie. We should review that sometime, actually.
Oh,
that's
sure. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, we're kind of like padding out this episode here because it was a quick one that we've done here, guys. But yeah, I mean, it's easier to make fun of an episode than actually be like, yeah, I liked this episode. So yeah,
exactly. Well, it's like our country has decided that it's much easier to tear something down than to build something up. So, anyway.
Yes, that's how it goes. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. The dice are loaded. Everybody knows.
Is that Leonard Cohen?
Yeah.
Is that where you do it?
Yes.
What's that? That's
the name of the song is Everybody Knows. Yes.
That's also from the album We Take Manhattan or something like that. Or interesting musician, Leonard Cohen.
Yeah, everybody knows the dice are loaded. Everybody knows the good guys lost. Yep, that's the way the world is. So hallelujah, to quote another Leonard Cohen song.
That's another one. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
What was the guy who did a good cover of that? I mean, sorry, Leonard Cohen did the cover of the guy who wrote Hallelujah.
No, Leonard Cohen wrote the song and did the original. Yeah,
okay.
The most definitive version though is Jeff Buckley.
Jeff Buckley, okay.
Yeah, and then Rufus Wainwright does a really good version of it too. So yeah, but yes. So Rufus Wainwright, who was Loudon Wainwright's son. Loudon Wainwright played the dad on Undeclared, which is another good show that we should cover sometime. But yeah.
Good show.
So we're just kind of rambling here. So I guess we can wrap things up here. Any messages you have for the world here while we still can?
Just try to be kind to people and try to enjoy it while it lasts. It sounds really cynical, but no, I'm actually being serious though. Like just whatever it is, just try to hold on to it as long as you can because it might be a bumpy.
Have fun, play your violin like Nero did as Rome burned.
But be nice while doing it. Be nice. Don't be a jerk. Don't just because things are fucked up doesn't give you the license to be mean. So that's the big point.
Exactly. And be sure to check out all2reeltoo.com. You can get all of our links there. We've got our Patreon, which would really help out the show. So please join, it's a good way to help support us. Check out our TeePublic, buy some merch, buy a t-shirt, buy a mug, buy something, please. If you can, share the show with your friends, and your family and your enemies. And yes. So be sure to fight the patriotic Christo-fascist society.
Good luck.
The Christo-fascist patriarchy.
Good luck with that.
Trans lives are human lives. Free Palestine.
Yep.
Be good to each other.
Yep.
Remember that I love you. Sesame loves you. And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All2ReelToo podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.